On global news, we begin with South Asia, particularly Pakistan. Militants ambush police patrol, kill 6 in northwest Pakistan. In China, frustration turns to anger due to ongoing COVID curbs. Liftoff, NASA successfully launches mega moon rocket. G20 declaration says leaders deploys Russian aggression against Ukraine, and NATO's Articles 4 and 5, the path to collective defense. This and more stories coming. In Islamabad, Pakistan, not more than 6 policemen have been killed in an ambush as they patrolled in a vehicle in Pakistan's northwestern province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in one of the deadliest raids in months. According to reports, the incident took place on Wednesday morning when their vehicle was fired upon in the city of Lakit Marwat, about 200 kilometers, 125 miles from the provincial capital of Peshawar. Police said there were no security cameras installed in the area where the incident took place. An investigation has been launched. In a statement, the banned armed group Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan (TTP), also known as the Pakistani Taliban, claimed responsibility for the attack, adding that its attackers made it back to safe havens. The Pakistani Taliban, allied with the Afghan Taliban, has been waging an armed offensive in Pakistan for over a decade, calling for the stringent enforcement of Islamic law. Pakistani Taliban, allied with the Afghan Taliban, has been waging an armed offensive in Pakistan for over a decade, calling for the stringent enforcement of Islamic laws, the release of their members from government custody, and reduce Pakistani military presence in tribal dominated regions. The group extended an indefinite ceasefire agreement with Islamabad May this year, with the talks brokered by the Taliban government in Kabul. But attacks by the Pakistani Taliban have not stopped, largely in the Khyber province. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif's office in a statement condemned the latest attack, calling the police a vanguard against terrorism. Police officials said, according to reporting, was the fourth such attack on law enforcement officials in the past 8 weeks. According to data compiled by the Pakistan Institute for Peace Studies (PPIPS) and Islamabad-based research organization, at least 65 such attacks took place in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa this year, killing at least 98 people and wounding 75. 7 of those attacks took place in Lakit Marwat. PIPS data shows. The director also said, and security analyst Raina said, according to the report, that while the government and the Pakistani Taliban have a ceasefire in place, the armed group portrays its attack as defensive maneuver. The main campus of Peking University in Beijing has been closed down amidst the heightened COVID-19 outbreak in cities across China that has forced millions into quarantine and added frustrations as the government continues with its zero-COVID strategy. On Wednesday, students and staff at the university were told they will not be permitted to leave the grounds unless absolutely essential, and classes were moved online at one campus until Friday, according to a notice from the university. The move followed the discovery of a single case of COVID-19. Beijing reported over 350 new cases of the virus in the latest 24 hours, a small fraction of the state's 1 million population, but enough to cause localized lockdowns and quarantines. Nationwide, there were more than 20,000 cases, up from about 8,000 a week ago, and the most since April. Authorities have been creeping away from citywide lockdowns and relaxing some curbs, notably on testing and travel, as they try to minimize the impact of their zero-COVID policy on people's lives and the economy. The newest round of lockdown has already turned frustration into anger, with protests breaking out in a district of the southern city of Guangdong on Monday night. Videos posted online showed crowds in the city's major district, which is home to numerous who work in the textile industry, pushing down COVID-19 barriers and flooding the streets. Some could be seen protesting with white hazmat suit-clad workers who usually supervise the mass quarantine. Among the fresh outbreaks in China, Guangdong is the major, with newly cases rising to 5,000 for the first time, and growing concern that localized lockdowns could widen. Twitter is blocked in China, and several hashtags related to the topic of riots in the area were scrubbed from China's Twitter like Weibo by Tuesday morning. Neither the Guangzhou city government nor the Guangdong provincial police responded to requests for comment, reports say. Major cities including Chongqing and Zhengzhou have also been caught up in the outbreak close to 3 years after the pandemic first started in the city. of Wuhan. Last week, China announced testing will be more focused rather than the present mass PCR testing and indicated some COVID policies will be relaxed, raising hopes for an end to zero COVID. President Xi Jinping has argued that the approach saves lives, especially for elderly people who have not yet been vaccinated. On science and technology, National Aeronautics and Space Administration NASA's new moon rocket has blasted off on its unveiling flight with 3 set dummies on board, bringing the United States a big step closer to an astronaut back on the lunar surface for the first time since the end of the Apollo program 50 years ago. If all goes well during the 3-week make or break ship-down flight, the 32-story tall rocket will propel an empty crew capsule into a wide orbit around the moon, and then the capsule will return to Earth with a splashdown in the Pacific in December. The launch marks the beginning of the space agency's new flagship program, Artemis. "We are going," tweeted the space agency early on Wednesday. After years of delays and failures in course of the runs, the Space Launch System rocket thundered skyward, rising from Kennedy Space Center on 4 million kilometers, that's 8.8 million pounds of thrust, and hitting 160 kilometers per hour within a second. The Orion capsule was perched on top, prepared to bust out of Earth's orbit towards the moon, not quite 2 hours into the flight. The moonshot followed closely 3 months of annoying fuel leaks that kept the rocket bouncing between its hangar and the pad. The American Space Agency managed the program late on Tuesday night while fueling the rocket in the middle of the night launch. NASA expected 15,000 people to join Kennedy Space Center for the launch, with thousands more lining the beaches.
Condemning in the strongest terms Russia's aggression against Ukraine. Declaration approved on Wednesday after a 2-day summit in Indonesia says the majority of members firmly condemned the war in Ukraine, but there were other views. There was no instant statement from Russia. International laws must be upheld, the communique said, adding that the threat of use of nuclear weapons or weapons was prohibited. It welcomed the Black Sea Grain Initiative as the war has disallowed much needed grain heading to global markets. The war in Ukraine was hurting the world economy, it said. The declaration also said member central banks will continue to adjust pace for monetary policy tightening. Still in the Russian-Ukraine war, the United States and its allies in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO are investigating the black killed 2 people in Poland's Zibudbo, a village in the eastern part of the country close to the border with Ukraine. Polish authorities blame a Russian-made missile for the death on Tuesday in a village about 6 kilometers 4 miles from the border with Ukraine. Russia's defense ministry has denied that any Russian missiles hit Polish territory, describing such reports as a deliberate provocation aimed at escalating the situation. If confirmed that the missile was fired by Russia, it will be the first time since its invasion of Ukraine in February that one of Moscow's weapons has hit and inflicted casualties in NATO country. A likely Russian missile strike poses severe concerns as the foundation of the 30-member NATO alliance is the principle that an attack against one member is an attack on all. While the Polish Foreign Ministry identified the missile as being made in Russia, Poland's President Andrzej Duda has been more cautious regarding its origin, saying that officials did not know for sure who fired it or where it was made. Joe Biden, U.S. President, also said the missile is based on trajectory, was unlikely to have been fired by Russia, adding, however, but we'll see. As a NATO member, Poland has said it was verifying whether it required to request consultations under Article 4 of the alliance. Experts note that Article 4 must be invoked before the process begins. That could potentially lead to the invocation of Article 5, which enshrines NATO's principle of collective defense. And more stories says Donald Trump unveils 2024 presidential run. Donald Trump has declared he will run for the United States presidency again in 2024 in spite facing numerous criminal investigations and the poor performance of candidates he backed in last week's midterm elections. On Tuesday evening at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, Trump launched the bid, his third for the presidency, a week after elections in which Republicans failed to win as many seats in Congress as they had hoped. According to reports, Trump spoke to hundreds of supporters in a ballroom decorated with many chandeliers and lined with dozens of American flags.
Earlier in the day, aides filed paperwork with the U.S. Federal Election Commission setting up a committee called Donald J. Trump for President 2024. There is a long road ahead for the Republican presidential nominee is officially selected in the U.S. summer of 2024, with the first state-level contest over a year away. Analysts believe Trump's unusually early launch may be well intended at fending off potential challengers for the party's nomination in 2024, including rising-star Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, 44, and Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence, 63. But Trump, who was twice impeached during his last term as president, enters the race at a moment of political vulnerability. He had hoped to inaugurate his campaign in the wake of resounding Republican midterm victories, fueled by candidates he elevated during this year's primaries. Instead, many of those candidates lost, letting Democrats to keep the Senate and leaving the Republicans with a path to only a bare majority in the House of Representatives. The losses have provoked some prominent Republicans to openly blame Trump for promoting weak candidates who they say derail the party's hopes of taking control of Congress. Still, Trump remains a formidable force, report says. In Africa, in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, rumors about rebel advances caused scramble to safety. Rumors of an imminent advancement of the M23 rebels have sent scores of people fleeing towards the city of Goma on Tuesday in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The arrival of the displaced in Goma coincided with a visit to the region of peace mediator, former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, who appealed for dialogue. The M23 rebels, whom Congo accuses of receiving support from neighboring Rwanda, have over doubled the territory they hold in recent weeks as they've gripped control of numerous major towns. General Constant Ndima, military governor of North Kivu, reassured, saying, and I quote, "I ask you to remain calm and to return to your business freely. I would like to reassure you that the loyalist forces, Congolese armed forces, are performing well in the field of operations, are containing the enemy in the heights of Kibumba." Rwanda denies any involvement. The M23 rebels signed a peace agreement with the government, but re-emerged last year saying the terms had not been met. Now, rescue operations ongoing after building collapse in Nairobi. On Tuesday, a residential building under construction has collapsed in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Construction workers are feared stuck under the rubble and rescue operations have begun. According to witnesses, some people who were injured during the collapse are being treated in a nearby hospital. 8 building collapsed in Kenya, killing 15 people in 2015. An audit by the National Construction Authority found that 58% of the buildings in Nairobi were unfit for living. A witness, as Isaiah Maynard, said the structure is just poor. Looking at the columns, looking at the materials, they are not as they are supposed to be. Building collapses are common in Nairobi, where housing is in high demand and dishonest developers often bypass regulations. And finally, on global news and sports, moment of pride for Qatar as World Cup 2022 fever takes over. In Doha, Qatar, for the past few weeks, a foretaste of what Qatar will look like during the World Cup set to kick off on Sunday have been playing out on its streets. Restaurants are becoming packed and queues at checkouts in supermarkets are getting longer thanks to football fans who have begun to arrive. World Cup branding has engulfed everything from office buildings to lampposts and walls. At the newly opened Luizel Boulevard, children in football jerseys run around while football enthusiasts stroll under a giant canopy of flags of competing nations, making it a field day for Instagram influencers and photographers alike. One of the key attractions at the boulevard is a giant installation of the World Cup mascot Lee Abi pouring out a cup of Arabic coffee. Celebrations have also commenced at the popular Konke area. Families and individuals are walking up and down the coastal promenade, listening to DJs playing techno music and enjoying light shows. The waterfront site will be a significant tourist hotspot where daily leisure events will take place throughout the World Cup. We'll be right back after this break. You're welcome back. If you're just joining, it's Zumo Nigeria on Eka Television, and I begin with 100 days to presidential poll. Tinubu says, God bless PDP, APC. 100 days to the February 25th, 2023 presidential election, the candidate of the governing All Progressives Congress APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yesterday formally inaugurated his campaign at the Jos Township Stadium in Plateau State, where he described next year's election as a fight to define the soul of the nation. Tinubu failed to succumb to pressure to dwell on what he termed fruitless past or tomorrow of fantasies. However, he slipped out of excitement when he chanted, "God bless PD," before he realized he feared years sleep and quickly reverted to his APC. President Muhammadu Buhari led other party faithful, including National Chairman of APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, governors of the party, ministers, National Working Committee, NWC members, and other party leaders to the event. Buhari told the gathering that Nigeria is in need of a man like Tinubu to sustain its present development. Ahead of the general election next year, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, yesterday repeated that the loyalty of the commission was to Nigerians and its allegiance was to Nigeria. Tinubu, in a statement by his media office signed by Tunde Rahman, said if elected president, unlike other parties who were either dwelling on a fruitless past or tomorrow's fantasies, his administration hoped to continue the course of progress already started by the Buhari administration. To guarantee overall energy security and resource mobilization for the country, Tinubu sought to continue the ongoing exploration works in all frontier basins and especially speed up the development of the commercial oil found. On business, inflation rate hit 21.09% as food prices soar. The inflation rate in Nigeria rose to 21.09% in October from 20.77% recorded in September 2022 amidst rising food prices, signifying a new 17-year high. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, which released the data on Tuesday, said that food inflation rose to 23.72% in October 2022 from 23.34% in September 2022. In its Consumer Price Index CPI report, which measures the rate of was 1.24%. This was 0.11% lower than the rate recorded in September 2022. This means that in October 2022, the general price level for the headline inflation rate month-on-month basis declined by 0.11%. The NBS stated in October 2022, on a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 21.09%. This was 50.09% points higher compared to the rate recorded in October 2021, which was 15.99%. The NBS also noted that the percentage change in the average CPI for the 12 months ending October 2022 over the average of the CPI for the previous 12 months period was 17.86%, showing a 0.91% increase compared to the 16.96% recorded in October 2021, stressing that the increases were recorded in all COP divisions that yielded the headline index. On the expected factors responsible for the fall in the monthly inflation rate month-on-month basis, the NBS further stated that over the past 3 months, there has been a decline in headline inflation on a month-on-month basis due to decline in the changes in the food index relative to the reference month index due to the present harvesting season. Also, on the likely factors responsible for the increase in the annual inflation rate year-on-year basis, the NBS attributed them to disruption in the supply of food products, increase in the cost of importation due to the persistent currency depreciation, and a general increase in the cost of production, for instance, increase in energy costs. According to the NBS, on a year-on-year basis in October 2022, the urban inflation rate was 21.63%, indicating 5.11% higher compared to the 16.52% recorded in October 2021, while on a month-on-month basis, the urban inflation rate was 1.33% in October 2022, showing a 0.12% decline compared to 1.46% in September 2022. It added that the rural inflation rate in October 2022 was 20.57% on a year-on-year basis, showing 5.09% higher compared to the 15.48% recorded in October 2021. On a month-on-month basis, the rural inflation rate in October 2022 was 1.16%, which was down by 0.11% compared to 1.27% in September 2022. The MBS attributed the rise in food inflation to increases in prices of bread and cereals, food products, for instance, potatoes, yams, and other tubers, oil, and fat. Lastly, Buhari orders probe into murder of Imo monarch and others. On Tuesday, the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, ordered a probe of the killings of Eze Aso, the traditional ruler of the Obudi Agwa community, and 4 other victims who lost their lives when gunmen invaded the monarch's palace in the Oguta local government area of Imo State. Buhari, in a statement by his senior special advisor on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, condemned the attack and commiserated with the bereaved families. The statement said the president directs security agencies in the state to thoroughly investigate the dastardly act and ensure that the perpetrators face the full wrath of the law. Meanwhile, the State Police Public Relations Officer, CSP Michael Abatam, in a statement said immediately the command received a distress call that hoodlums suspected to be members of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra and its militia affiliate, Eastern Security Network, were attacking Aso's palace. Policemen were deployed in the area. He said the divisional police officer, joined by the command's tactical teams, immediately raced to the palace, where on arrival it was discovered that the hoodlums had fled the scene. Barton said the corpses were deposited in the mortuary, adding that the community had been fortified with enough police operatives. He noted that the State Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Berde, who condemned the dastardly act, appealed for calm, adding that the command will leave no stone unturned until the perpetrators were arrested and made to face the full wrath of the law. According to reports, Aso, alongside 4 persons consisting of 2 chiefs and 2 villagers, were gunned down by gunmen on Monday. After committing the crime, the gunmen reportedly stormed Mbala community and allegedly shot a pregnant woman and a local security officer. The injured victims included the pregnant woman, a retired soldier, the traditional Prime Minister Stephen Joku, who sustained bullet wounds, were rushed to different hospitals for prompt treatment. A recap of major stories says militants ambush police patrol, kill 6 in northwest Pakistan. In China, frustration turns to anger due to ongoing COVID curbs. Lift off, NASA successfully launches mega moon rocket. G20 declaration says leaders deploys Russian aggression against Ukraine. And NATO's Articles 4 and 5, the path to collective defense. And that's all the news at this hour. Acceptance, tolerance, and forgiveness. Those are the life-altering lessons. Let's practice them. Thanks for watching. I am Lois Turaki. Enjoy the rest of your day.